Okay, welcome everybody out tonight. And last week we talked about my secret allergy hack, which was goldenrod infused honey. And we talked about building your soil over the winter, two cheap methods with cover crops plus leaves. And seems like we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end tonight. A similar topic, but anyway, it seems like leaves are the magic sauce because it brings in a lot of not bacteria, but fungus. And fungi are apparently more important for your garden soil than bacteria to break down things. So anyway, so anybody have anything to say about either one of those topics before we go on to tonight? All right. Tonight, and I want to encourage everybody to interrupt me as much as possible tonight because I want to kind of raise some new concepts, and the reason I'm doing that is our particular point in the economy right now, what's happening around us. You know, we had a rate cut, but doesn't seem to be making much difference. And I'm not sure it will to the positive side, but anyway, markets were up today after an opening scare, and market kind of opened into a free fall, and then something happened. I suspect it was the plunge protection team. Does anybody know what that term is? So a group out of the New York Fed that secretly, or not so secretly anymore, goes in and buys stocks to prop up the market sometimes. And it's kind of what it looked like happened this morning.
And what did you call them?
The plunge protection team.
Oh,
the PPT. One of those semi-open secrets about the Federal Reserve. Been going on for a long time, but hadn't been needed to be exercised a whole lot lately. But I think they're going to try to prop up the market until the elections, till we've all voted. I guess if we all vote, it'll get over sooner. But so what I've been kind of beating on the last few weeks is, have you started your diversification? If you have a brokerage account or a 401k or an IRA with something that you hope to preserve for your retirement, maybe you should think about more important about return of your money, not return on your money. So what's happening right now with the market, some things going to new highs, I think it's a gift.
If NASA says it's too hot.
What was that again?
Nothing, sorry.
Oh, okay. Real life. So with that said, gold was up today at I believe a new record, 2658, and wasn't much said about it. The market monitor that I watch didn't even mention GLD as a new high today. I thought that was interesting. You just list the top 10 stocks or whatever ETFs that are up. Didn't mention that. Goldbacks are well over $5 this week. I think it was 508 last week. Now it's 524. So they continue to go up with the price of gold. Silver was up at 32.10 today, and the gold silver ratio actually came down to 83, which is the lowest it's been in some time. So I guess silver's going up more than gold's going up. So tilt and zeros were both pretty flat today, maybe a couple of cents one way or the other. So I think this is an opportunity. Beginning to think that the Fed is going to have to lower, with all this unemployment coming out, and layoffs. I think the Fed's going to have to lower the rates a lot, substantially, and that would push up tilt and zeros, which are long-term treasury ETFs, and they also pay about 3% dividend. Tilt pays theirs monthly, which is kind of nice if you need income. So I think this is one to really consider, aside from just raising cash, which is what I did today. I put in sell orders about 10% over a lot of things I had in my portfolio that I hope get sold out from under me at a profit. So wheat was flat today at 5.19, and I think that's a real bargain. PDBA was up at 37.71, so that's agricultural commodities. And with wheat, coming back over $5, and soybeans have been on a tear lately, so that's probably what's driving that. And maybe cocoa. So the other one is PDBC, which is a more general commodity with precious metals and energy in it. And so oil was up today too, so that's probably why that one was up. So all of these should do well in an inflationary environment and recessionary environment, hopefully. XAR, the military industrial complex, one I keep harping on, that it's biblical. You can depend on this. They were all down today except GE, and last week Boeing and GE swapped places. Boeing was the only one up last week, and all the others were down. So I guess we've had 2 weeks in a row of world peace breaking out. So the other side of that is it's an opportunity to pick up some of these, or at least XAR. Every time it pulls back, I'd buy a few shares of that. Maybe trade in some tech stocks for it. US oil was up over $73 today, which would normally be considered inflationary or war oriented. But I believe we're already in a recession, so I think it will be coming back down. So I put in a short position today. It was up. So my impression is there'll be more money made on the short side than there will be on the long side from here on out in this phase of the economy. And another one, WES, had a big drawdown today. It was down like $1.50 at one point, and then it closed pretty much even. But what happened, one of the reasons I like this one was has 44% insiders. Well, 18% of that 44% decided to sell today, so that's what pulled it down, but it popped back up. So I think it'd be an even safer time to buy that. And like it shows, it pays a 9% dividend. So that's a pretty good these days. Bitcoin was up above, I think that's right. Is it 61? I think it was higher than that today. But anyway, maybe I didn't change that. But what I wanted to bring up about Bitcoin is instead of buying Bitcoin, at least in a trading environment, buying Bitcoin's great if you're just going to hodl it. But there's an ETF called BITS, which today Bitcoin, when I looked, was up 2%, but BITS was up 3.5%. So it moves further and faster than Bitcoin, and it pays 11% dividend twice a year, like January and July, I think. And anybody have any idea how they pay 11% dividend?
No.
No, that sounds odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So you got two benefits there, especially if you were going to follow the process of retiring on your whole corners out there. You had a whole coin for every person in your family. The theory is that you should be able to borrow, that Bitcoin goes up enough every year on average that you could borrow from it and live on that tax-free income and never have to pay it back because your base asset's going to go up every year. Well, you add 11% dividend to that thesis, and it makes it very, very viable. And then you can just borrow out of your brokerage account and not have to deal with some DeFi scheme that the government will probably outlaw eventually. So anyway, but back to how they pay 11% dividend. They invest into Bitcoin futures, and when they do that, when they buy a contract, they put up when they received all their money on the opening of this fund, they went out and bought treasury bonds, and they put up those treasury bonds, which pay interest, by the way, as collateral for their futures contracts. So they don't have to put up any cash. They just put up those bonds, but they're still getting interest from those bonds, still clipping the coupon. So twice a year they pay that interest that they're out. If it's above their expenses, they pay that interest out in the dividend. So they've been paying 11%. I don't know whether that'll continue with the interest rates going down. If they've got longer bonds, it should be fine. Matter of fact, they'll make money on the principal of those bonds. So anyway, that's how they do it. And so that's a long fund. And BITI, which is what I was in for the last couple of weeks, and made some money. Now I'm underwater, but it pays a 4% dividend itself. So if you want to trade Bitcoin on the short side, which I wouldn't recommend at the moment, but so anyway, I think that's all I was going to say about that. And to get down to Ethereum, it was up a little bit today at 23.42. On the long side, you can do ETHW, I believe, pays a dividend just like the Bitcoin one does, and ETHD, which is a short fund, pays a 5% dividend, which is pretty cool. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to go over is there's more than one way to skin this cat with Bitcoin. And you don't necessarily have to know anything about Bitcoin to go with these ETFs. And in some ways, they may be even for a hodler, they might be a better option than while you're waiting on Bitcoin to go up, over the next year or so, you could be sitting there getting 11% dividend off of it. So I think that's pretty compelling. Of course, if everything goes to pot and you don't have electricity, it doesn't matter which one you're in. That's another story. I think you need to have some things that are outside of electronics, but kind of what drove me down this rabbit hole is I'd been following a lot of companies, been noticing a lot of layoffs coming, and so I asked AI what the recently announced layoffs were, and it came back with this list of Verizon Corporation, 4,800 employees will be leaving the company in 25. Ricoh cutting around 2,000 jobs. PwC US, which I'm not sure what that is, 1,800 workers. LL Flooring, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, closing nearly 100 of its 442 stores, following Chapter 11, 2,000 jobs losses. Telia, which had to look up, that's a Swedish telecom, I think. 3,000 jobs, or 15% of their workforce. Mass Orange is a Spanish telephone or communications company, cutting 10% of their workforce. Edwards Life Sciences laying off 540 employees, 3% of its workforce. IBM closing a hardware research development team in China, less than 1,000 employees. Scale AI. I mean, can you imagine an AI company laying off people? Laying off 1,000 contract workers at data annotation. I guess AI figured out how to do that. Tata Steel cutting 2,800 jobs. It's a Indian steel company. Klarna cutting 1,000 jobs because they're going to AI. MasterCard cutting around 1,000 employees, about 3%. And you notice this is not just in the United States, it's all around the world. In fact, most of the world's ahead of us on this. And they didn't even mention the ones that I've been following, which is John Deere, closing big plants and moving them to Mexico, by the way. GM, big plant closures in the Kansas City area. And Wells Fargo and Bank of America are closing a lot of branches around this GM layoff, which is pretty big, and the John Deere layoffs. So it's kind of a circular problem here, I mean, you lay off 1,000 employees in a town, and you don't just lose that 1,000 jobs, you lose the jobs that are servicing that company, and those 1,000 employees also. And it affects, of course, the housing situation there. So this all leads me to believe that we might already be in a recession. What do you think?
Kind of seems that way.
First, it'll take the Bureau of Statistics a year or so to figure that out, but or at least till after the election. But
yeah, sort of what a joke I heard about. What definition of an economist is an economist who is someone who successfully forecast the last recession.
Yeah. And then there's that thing about what's the old story about if when your neighbor loses his job, you're in a recession. When you lose your job, you're in a depression.
Right.
So
I got one. They say this about consultants or economists. They're the people who ask to borrow your watch so they can tell you what time it is.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I guess I'm in that class since I haven't worn a watch in about 10 years. Ever since I started carrying a phone. Anyway, I can't understand the duplication or the need for duplication there. So we talked about a water plan last week and the week before. In my opinion, just like a water plan, you need an unemployment plan. I mean, what if you're unemployed for a year? What's your plan? Do you have enough savings to pay all your bills for a year? Do you have an unpaid balance on a mortgage that has to be paid? Just start thinking about that, because it's kind of like a drought when there's a big Texas drought that's been going on for 4 or 5 years, and the ranchers who sold their cattle, at the first of the drought, they got good price for their cows and got out of it, and they're just sitting on that cash, hopefully earning good interest. But the people that waited till the middle of the drought, they almost had to give their cows away because people couldn't get hay to feed their cows either. So, I mean, nobody wanted to buy any cows. So I would think about that same thing about your house. If a year's unemployment would make you have to sell your house, I would think about putting that house up for sale at the same day you apply for unemployment. It's something to think about. Okay, enough of my soapbox. Seasonal information. Time to plant trees in the fall. Now that we've gotten this rain, it's almost that time. There's still some things that you can plant in the fall garden if you hurry. It'd be nice if we had gotten it in before the rain started, but collards, kale, spinach, cilantro, radishes, lettuce, arugula, and you're actually early for garlic. So we'll mention that one today and again next week. But and of course, you could do cover crops. So, anybody got any additions to that list?
I got subtractions since I'm on blood thinners. I can't eat any of them. So
Can't have that K2, huh?
nope.
I don't know about
I got my daikon radish seeds in the mail yesterday.
Oh, I could probably eat radishes.
well, go stick them in the mud.
Yeah, well, I need to wait till it dries out a little bit to harvest my sweet potatoes first.
Was the daikons take a little longer than the the red radishes, the bulb radishes, but it's not a big deal because they're good cover crop one way or the other. And of course, the bees have been having a hard time this year. I'm not going to be harvesting any honey. Good time to order seeds and trees and order your seeds for next year, just in case you have problems. It's time to get your hunting license, and like I said, if you hadn't had one in a while, you might have to take a hunter safety course. And the same weapon that provides that deer or bear could also protect your family. So kill two birds with one stone there. And, highly recommend that everybody have some potassium iodine for everybody in their family.
Potassium iodine for what?
That's what you take for radiation poisoning. It
Hmm.
fills your thyroid up with potassium iodine, so it doesn't bring in radioactive iodine or strontium, I think it is. But,
Is that like a tablet you can order online or?
yeah, matter of fact, you can get it at Yoder's. Matter of fact, but they carried it at Yoder's. I don't know about the store in Culpeper, whether it's up there or not, but the one in Madison definitely has it.
Hmm.
I don't think the one up in Culpeper does. The old country store, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Okay. Well, anyway, the one in Madison has it. Yoder's does. So
It's not the iostat, but it is potassium iodide though.
okay. I think I was in there the other day checking that out. I think they actually had iostat now also.
Huh?
May have been dreaming that, but I think that's what I saw. It's on the back wall back there, I believe. But, anyway, in this crazy world, another interesting little tidbit is there's a gaggle of congressmen that are trying to pass a bill that would initiate a constitutional amendment to modify the Constitution, so if a large number of Congress were to disappear, that they would be able to fill those positions quickly without having to wait for an election.
Who would be able to fill them?
I'm assuming they would be appointed by the governors, but I don't know that for a fact. I haven't.
A large number, huh? That's
Yeah. So what do they know, or what are they thinking?
yeah.
Well,
What are they planning for here?
they can do that for the Senate now, but they can't do it for the House of Representatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to have a special election for House of Representatives.
Okay.
So do you know any keywords that would bring that up, and who's trying to pass it?
I heard it on Glenn Beck this morning, but I was not able to find anything, at least from AI's point of view. So it may not be very far along. I mean, the chances of getting a constitutional amendment, pretty slim anyway, especially in a timely manner. So anyway, I suspect that won't happen, but just the fact that they were thinking about it was kind of interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
So anyway, any progress anybody would like to share with us?
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm my garden beds. What would you recommend the mixture for if I wanted to add soil to my garden beds?
Well, what I've been using is a little bit of charcoal in the bottom, which I make myself, from a brush pile. You just light it up, and when it starts to be a little ash on top, you just put it out with a hose, and then
Yeah.
I put that in the bottom of the garden bed, and then I mix basically a third each of peat moss, um, compost, and stone dust from out on Route 3.
Stone dust instead of sand.
Yeah, yeah, because sand's inert basically. There's the plants don't get anything from it, but that bluestone out there, get the finest thing they got. They call it MS10, but that bluestone out there, was from an inland sea, so it's got a lot of calcium in it, and
Oh,
and about 80 other minerals and elements. So it's a good base of trace minerals and stuff for it. So better than the one in green plant, which is that one is, it's basically granite, and it's igneous rock, so it's not near as good.
Hmm.
Good as its mineral content. But anyway,
and the compost, is that's stuff you've
yeah,
done there around the house, or?
yeah, I've generally done my own, although I've been lazy here lately and gone to the sale barn, and they'll load it up for you there. So
Where?
the livestock market there on
Oh,
231 in Madison.
oh,
Madison. You got to be there when they're there, but there's another place across the road there, and towards Madison, that's Centerfit Cattle Company, or
yeah.
they got 2 or 3 names, but anyway, it's kind of a private sale barn, but they'll load you up. They'll load you up for free there, just to get rid of it. A lot of times the one at the livestock market's not it's pretty fresh. It's
Yeah.
shavings and sawdust, and with a little poop in it.
Hmm.
But that probably wouldn't be a problem either, if you just need to add some extra nitrogen to it, because otherwise it's going to suck everything out of the manure in there into those wood chips.
Well, and now, like Culpeper Recycling, they sell by the truckload what they call compost, but it's basically composted wood bark kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So is that something is there some reason to avoid using that, or?
If it's really composted, no, I think it'd be okay. Like I said, if it's not done yet, it will require some nitrogen added to it, either from fertilizer or whatever. But I tried using that when I first built my first beds. I think that's where I got it from, and I had some real light green greens coming out there.
Okay.
You could
So
tell they weren't getting enough nitrogen.
So if you mix, if I got it from there, mix some like nitrate of soda or something like that in with it.
Yeah, or even better would be calcium nitrate,
Okay.
because it raises the pH a little bit. But, I mean, you could use commercial fertilizer for the first time if you wanted to. I don't like to do that, but a lot of people do, and for your first time, you know, to kind of get the bed balanced right, I don't think it's, you know, probably a problem. You probably
Well,
don't much life in there you're killing right now anyway.
Mhm. All right.
You know.
That sounds like that may be the problem with the compost that I added this year, because um, we didn't get good, like our parsnips.
Mhm.
Parsnips didn't make hardly anything because the green tops just didn't develop on them.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like a nitrogen issue.
Yep.
You had parsnips?
Well, we tried to grow parsnips, but like I said, they didn't do anything. They're
We've tried it several years and those have been beast.
Are they
And what?
big?
We've never had any luck with parsnips.
You know, but see, that's fun. You know, when I was a kid, my mom, we raised parsnips every year, and she'd pull parsnips out of the ground. It was like half as long as your arm. So, and that was in the clay soil down in Southwest Virginia. So I don't.
Wow. Well, our biggest problem was always getting them to germinate. I mean, they're worse than carrots. But
Mm,
I mean, the ones we got up, yeah, I mean, we had them 4 foot tall, you know, at the tops. But
yeah.
you know,
Oh, okay.
just one here and there, you know.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, that was part of the issue too. Yeah.
Kind of like my corn crop was this year.
Well, I love parsnips, so if I
And once we weren't market gardening anymore, we quit trying and just switched to carrots. They're not necessarily easy, but they're a lot easier than parsnips. Anybody got a chance
like,
to
so like a regular 10-10-10 wouldn't be enough nitrogen in it to make a difference, or
um you'd probably want to do a like trying to think what's
Well-
available like a 16-8-8 or something like that, you know, or
uh-huh. Okay.
okay, so anybody cut any wood yet lately in the rain?
I need to get mine out of the rain.
Mhm.
I don't dare go up into the woods. I keep hearing trees falling up on the hill.
Mm,
Hi.
got
I
plenty.
got wood sitting in my yard, and shoot, I'm having a brain toot right now. Brother, he's on the broadcast right now. Okay. Anyway, he came and split some wood for me because I can't do it right now because of my back. So
Dave?
Dave Jennings, yeah. Thank you for
That's his name.
substituting for my brain there. I mean, I know his name as well as I know my own, but sometimes I don't know what my own is.
A lot of that going around the high priest group.
Yep.
Well, let's see. So pruning, planting. Seems to be plenty to do this time of year, but a lot of things to be harvested. This rain that's come about had a nice flush of mushrooms. I've showed this one before. Anybody remember what this is?
Nope.
Elf's here.
Yeah, you got one on each side of your head.
Yeah.
So this is elf sear, which is a nice mushroom to scramble with eggs, or you know, some onions and these, and then once you get that sweat it a little bit, pour scrambled eggs over it. Other ways to, it's fine in a stew or soup or anything. It's pretty easy to identify. This is on a persimmon stump that I'd cut down a couple of years ago. And this is the second crop of them this year. Had one in the spring also. And some people think you can't grow these here, but we don't have a lot of them this year, but they're nice and big.
Pomegranate.
Uh-huh. You can't grow a wonderful variety of pomegranate here, but there are varieties that will grow in zone 6.
Yeah, is that one of yours there?
Yeah.
How long did it take to produce?
It's been producing probably for 5 years now, which I'd say maybe 8 or 10 years before it started producing.
Oh, wow. A long-term investment then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't take that long, but I don't know, didn't seem to be a very good ground for it, although supposedly where it grows in rocky, full sun areas supposedly, but anyway, this one's, like the size of a large apple at this point. It's starting to turn, so usually won't harvest them until around the first frost, but it would probably be edible now. And we've got chestnuts out the wazoo. Liz took a batch over to the auction this morning.
Yeah. Do you do anything with your chestnuts to keep the worms out of them?
No, about the only thing you can really do, I mean, because as far as spraying, aside from the fact I'm kind of against it, is that these trees are getting 40, 50 foot tall now, and you'd have to have a heck of a sprayer. And so running chickens or guineas under it, maybe turkeys would be good. And clean up all the nuts so that the worms don't come out of them and go pupate and make next year's chestnut weevils. Because I've got two varieties now. I've got the lesser and the greater chestnut weevil, and the lesser chestnut weevil, if it's this one in it, doesn't really damage it that much, but these greater chestnut weevils, they make a big hole,
Yeah.
when they come out.
Yeah, my granddad used to say that's why you cook them, because you get the worms, the weevils makes extra protein.
Yeah, that they do. So, okay, so I'm gonna do a share. Play our video for tonight. Which is, there's one other thing I wanted to show before we do that. This is off of RubinoSubstack.com, but it's showing a graph here of the unaffordability of houses, which cannot go on. Our average household our median household income is like $82,000, And it takes almost $120,000 of income to buy a medium value home. So something's got to give there. And with more and more people getting laid off, I mean, that income's going to even fall worse. So, and it'll bring more homes onto the market. So, which should make the price of homes go down. But anyway, just something to be aware of. Is these numbers will eventually come together, whether it's up there or down here.
Well, I've been reading a great day since I was in college that the price of housing is going to hit a depression when all the baby boomers die off.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they all?
Okay, so that's starting to happen.
Yeah. Or they all want to downgrade to a 2-bedroom home or retirement home. Well, anyway, let's look at another gardening tip, and this is one that Liz and I kind of argue about all the time. But anyway, this guy thinks he knows the proper way to do it and the only way to do it, but probably not so. But he's convinced, and he's fairly convincing.
Gardening. Now today I want to go over something very important, true to whether you're growing in sand, silt, and clay in the garden, or you are, let's say, using a raised bed. Now you can see the leftover vines of all those yellow pear tomatoes that we had left over. Now this was such a good year for me growing tomatoes because we had so much rain, and it just expanded and made all those microbes work double time in growing these beautiful vines. And I probably picked over, let's say, 500 to 1,000 of yellow pear. I lost count, and these are only about, let's say, I think I got let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8 plants here, and you can see how many yellow pear are still left over. But our consideration now is the ground that we have below here. I have some leaf mold on the ground that kept them moist. I didn't need it, but you never know what the season is going to be. But you can see how we have this, again, this abundance of yellow pear. And I got to show you this other thing too. It's going to be in the shade, but this is how easy it is to grow tomato plants. Here we are on the other side of the trellis, on the back side of it, if you want to call that, and here's the yellow pear. Now, I got the yellow pear to start producing early in the season, and the plants were so big that I had to cut some of the foliage off in the back so I can reach in there and harvest all those yellow pear. Now, what you see on the ground here is I just left those, let's say, yellow pear on the ground, and those are all volunteer yellow pear tomato plants. That green that you're seeing there. So let's even get closer. This is just insane. Look at all those volunteer yellow pear tomato plants. I basically, and they're growing in leaf mold. All this here that you see is beautiful. I'm going to say they're about 4 to 5 inches tall of all beautiful yellow pear tomato plants. And there's probably at least, again, 1,000 of them growing back here. What perfect conditions of all these yellow pear falling down and growing in my leaf mold. That's how easy and quick it is. Didn't do anything to them. Nice, green, and healthy. All the minerals and nutrients are there because the microbes are feeding and breaking down all that material and giving to them. The only way your plant is getting nutrients is microbes. Microbes deliver and break down all the things that are in your soil and deliver to your plant. In organic gardening, that's the only way. Chemical fertilizer, that gives it directly to the plant, and you can overdo it. That's why you can burn plants out. But in organic gardening, it's all about microbes. So again, what I'm suggesting you to do, and is very important, and is going to grow that beautiful soil for you for your lifetime of your garden, is to keep the rest of the roots in the ground here. Here we have the top of the tomato plant of yellow pear. And again, yellow pear is this beautiful yellow tomato, pear-shaped, and it's just gorgeous and great to eat. Now, these I can save for seeds, which I'm going to do. I actually take a lot of these and save them over winter and give them into community gardens for people that do not have the money to buy seeds, and they always appreciate me donating it. And so all these yellow pears that are going to be left over on this, we're going to save the seeds for and help spread and give generously to other people. And you, by watching my channel, helps me make a little money so I can do this and actually pass it forward to other people. So back to the roots that we got in the ground here. So now we can see how thick this one plant is. I'm going to remove this aluminum tie that I started with, that it actually brings it to the ground, just a small one here. And I'm going to cut away with just some pruning shears, just this top of the foliage, so I can get in here and show you how thick. And here we have some new growth actually on the bottom again. Cut some of this away. There's probably, I don't know, say 5 to 7 main stems here, and here's the largest one in the middle here. All organically grown. I don't use any kind of extra things on the ground here. And again, just some good old-fashioned leaf mold that I put down early in the spring when I transplanted the plants right directly in the ground here. Now, also, I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to remove this for you. I'm going to show you the roots on this plant because, again, this was just a little bit of a raised mound bed of just soil. I don't have any borders around it, no cardboard boxes, no wood, no nothing. And this is just something I want to show you here because I'm always curious about it too. I'm just going to pull this out because I can get this to this root here slowly. Now I'm going to break off a lot of roots, but I want to show you in this demonstration. Ooh, see, most of the roots here, these big white ones here are surface roots, and they love to go inside this leaf mold. That's why mulching is so important and to leave everything alone. But now here you can see how, see, I'm breaking it, I'm moving the soil actually all the way out there, or mulch I should say, use the correct words. Now, oh, this thing is huge. No wonder they did so well. Now, again, you're not supposed to do this, but I want to show you if all these roots are going out in different directions here. Now, let's get this better now. And you can see here that how well this tomato plant root did. Look at this. This is insane. How good is that? Look at this. Oh, nice. And this is a yellow pear variety. This is not a beefsteak variety or nothing else either. And now you can see how well those roots did because I don't disturb my soil, a no-till situation. And some of these roots, I'm going back underneath the camera, like this one here. Now, you can see this is probably 1 foot long, 2 feet long, almost 3 feet long here. Now, I'm just going to pull this out of the way. And you can see, this is my roots. Now, if we leave them in the ground, think of all that organic matter that's there. All that beautiful organic matter that's going to die over winter. And what it is, and I want to share with you, all those microbes have been living around this space. Now, I've disturbed this, and that's why I don't want you to do it. I just want you to cut off the top of the plant and leave it there. And it will decay over winter. You have anywhere from 7 to 8 months in my area for this to break down in the ground. But if you're feeding your soil all this organic matter that's in the ground, and all those microbes made passageways over all that time, how beautiful is that? Think about the engineering that goes into this. All the stuff that you see here that is just constantly making nature stronger and stronger. And what it is, I never had blight this year. We had 3 major tropical storms this year in my area with high amount of rain, high amount of, let's say, lack of sunlight, and these things still did good and produced all these beautiful roots. Now, this is just proof to you that nature can take care of itself. Is nature perfect? No. You're going to have problems left and right sometimes, and you can never figure out why. because you're disturbing the soil too much, and it's all about microbes living in your soil. So consider this. It is a great way to understand it. If you have any questions, please write to me, because I'm here to help you, and I'm here to share with you all this knowledge that I have over the years. And I've made mistakes easily. And I says I've been doing this for over 10 years, growing organically on my farm, and it's easy to understand because it's how it is taught to you and how I deliver that information to you that you can understand it and actually go teach somebody else this beautiful thing. And look at just the roots that continue, when I'm picking this plant up, just unbelievable. So I want to show you this great example here. I have it actually hanging off my trellis. My trellis is about 4 feet tall. It's a cattle panel, and we're just going to go right down the line here. And sorry about the clicking noise. It's just my camera mount, and you can see how beautiful those roots are. Sorry about the wind and how deep they go in the soil or spread out in the soil. And I want to talk about roots and disease for a second here too. This whole section here that you see, the reason why I don't get that many diseases in my garden on this beautiful root system, because any of these roots here, like this one that you see here, I have a beneficial fungi, mycorrhizal fungi in the soil. And what it does, it invades each cell of this root here on a very microscopic level. You would have to look at it in a microscope about 400 magnification to see the cells in the root. So this fungi, say my finger here is a fungi, goes into each one of those cells and grows from that outwards. So if it's invaded the cell of the root, nothing else can invade that cell because it has a good fungi in there protecting it. And that's what the whole secret is about growing healthy plants in healthy soil. Because if you have everything working for you, those bacteria and fungi are going to live outside here. The fungi is going to invade the root, take over those cells, and use that as a host to grow more fungi out in the soil to get nutrients and bring them back to the root. But also it's protecting the root from other bad bacteria. Just amazing. Come on now. That is really some cool stuff. That's why I'm like interested in all this as a farmer and a gardener, is because it does work. Now, I also want to go down here and show you something. Let's move this down. Sorry for the clicking noise. Now you can see here, what's this? A clod of dirt? No. This is what happens when you build soil. This is what is a huge soil aggregate. And see, that's why you don't want to disturb everything. Inside here are billions of bacteria and fungi and good nematodes and good protozoa living inside this aggregate here. And this is grown. You can see it's attached to the root and gone through it. And everything is perfectly in there. And a lot of people put biochar in here. But nature makes its own biochar in soil aggregates. So you don't have to use biochar in your garden. If you want to, you can. There's a lot of research either way. But actually what this is all formed. And I will break this open like so. And you can see how there's passageways in there and good healthy soil and just easy to make everything beautiful. And that root that you see here, let's get a better close-up, is going right down the middle of that inside there and actually supporting it. And what it's all bind together is something called glomalin, and that binds all those particles together and is just adorable. Again, awesome nature, and this is how it works. So if you want to learn more, stay tuned to my channel. We're going to go over cover cropping in a little bit, but the most important thing and the valuable thing now is to leave those roots in the ground, because this is what it made, this beautiful soil aggregate from those roots. And if you rip them out of the ground, and I just did this so I can show you a demonstration, and this is what it's doing and is actually working for you. I want to thank you so very much for watching today's video. I actually don't give the seeds away. I actually give the yellow pear away, and then teach people how to save seeds at the same time. So I'll give each person 10 of these yellow pear tomatoes, and I will show them how to cut it open and save them in their basement. And it's just an easy process, and I'll be sharing that also with a video with you in the future too.
Okay. So. Well, anyway, I guess the proof is in the pudding. He's I haven't dug any of my roots up, but I'm pretty sure I don't have that kind of root system down there. Of course, I didn't have that many tomatoes either in the drought, but
Yeah.
anyway.
That's pretty impressive.
I suspect the plants were pretty impressive before they died back, but I think that's like a last fall's video.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that.
So, but anyway.
So what he's advocating there is that you leave the roots in the ground over the winter.
Yeah, basically he's saying, which he doesn't really get down to saying it, but what he means to say and forgot to say is to just cut them off flush with the ground. And
Okay, that makes sense.
Take the tops away and compost them or whatever. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that does
Would
make sense.
would the same thing go with like corn? Or?
yeah. Basically about anything except a perennial, and you know it works with all your annual weeds, for example, but like things like dock and which we have a lot of trouble with, and
Yeah.
and what's the other one? Well, dandelions get in there, and yeah, those are all perennial that'll come back if you don't get the root out, or at least damage it pretty deeply. A lot of times if you get an inch or two down, it'll seems like roots kind of sprout from that crown, or the plants sprout from the crown, but not necessarily from the root underneath. So a lot of times they won't come back. But, I'm gonna stop recording here and close this out.